Can a Stirling engine charge a solar charger system? Let's find out. Unfortunately, the stupid cheap Stirling engine I bought from China doesn't work right. But when it was working, I was able to get a maximum of 1.6 volts, which isn't much. So I'm going to be a little generous and use these batteries, which will give 2.4 volts. Use these batteries to simulate having the Stirling engine hooked up, since it won't run. And then I have a 0.925 volts, 2.5 volts booster board, which then has a USB cord, and it goes into another booster board, which can increase 3.5 volts all the way up to 24 volts, and then that connects into the solar charge controller. Go ahead and turn it on. You can see it's getting power to this booster board, which is then charging up this booster board, which is going to go to the controller. Oh, and also I have a diode here, because I found out the hard way that when I didn't have the diode here, the current from the battery was giving power to the booster boards. Okay, let me shut them off again. Go ahead and turn on the controller. Now the controller is getting power from the battery. And when I turn on the battery, or when I turn on this to let the power from the small batteries go through the booster boards, you'll see the little solar panel indicator appear on the charge controller. Basically, I'm tricking this thing into thinking that there's a solar panel hooked up to it feeding it power. There you go, you can see the little solar panel screen there. When I check the milliamps that it's putting out, that's actually going into the charge controller. It gives me an error because it only can measure up to 200 milliamps. Then when I tried to measure regular amps, it wasn't high enough to give me a measurement. It stayed at 0. So the milliamps that this thing is putting out is between 201 milliamps to 999 milliamps. So it's not putting out enough amperage to actually charge the battery. But surprisingly, it can actually supply a little bit of power to the battery to keep it going a little bit longer than it would if it wasn't being charged. Which is pretty crazy from these two little AA batteries. The input voltage from the first booster board is putting out 4.65 volts. And then the voltage that's going from the second booster board, here's the voltage going from the second booster board into the charge controller, 13.79 volts. Good charging voltage. Where the wires connect into the booster board, it's showing 13.2 volts. Oh, and it's changing a little bit depending on the, I guess, the load on those little batteries. So there you go, there's the answer to the question. Can a Stirling engine or low voltage input charge a big battery on a solar panel charger setup? And the answer is yes and no. Because you can get the volts, but there's not enough amps there to actually charge the battery properly. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell.